Just feeling like the emotional weight of decay.
Speaking of decay,
DK, have it your way.
DKNY, all up in my eye. You got a bag with a lot of stuff in it.
Oh, what are we doing today?
We're talking about chickens and the many ways of ripping them. No.
We could probably delve into a little bit of like maybe some Kings action if we want to. We don't have to go in any type of sequence, but I'm thinking like maybe behind some of the songs, talking through some lyrics.
Every episode's a little different.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for a little direction.
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking some more behind the music stuff.
In this episode
behind the lyric
of Shiloh Battles, More of That podcast.
Yeah. We'll never do that again. What kind of direction do you need?
I don't.
Oh.
I plan to not consume this podcast. So.
Right. So there's nothing at stake here. Yeah. There's nothing at stake. Speaking of steak.
Midnight Sliders.
I'm looking forward to another round of Midnight Sliders. This time I feel, though, that the Cornichons might make a
guest appearance. Those would go great.
Ooh, I know.
First of all, they go great with mustard too, right?
No, they go great.
I know what you're gonna say,
and which means they automatically go good with pastrami.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Are we talking poupon? What are we talking?
I'm a fan.
Or you go the
stone ground.
The stone ground.
I just got some stone ground yesterday.
Fan of that too.
Yeah.
You get some stone ground mustard.
Stone ground mustard with relish and a little mayo.
Well, you combine it with the white sauce, the Alabama white sauce.
Well, but you can't tell us the ingredients on that. That's like your secret recipe.
You can Google Alabama white sauce recipe.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
That's all you're doing?
Yeah, I mean mine might be a little different.
You guys got a little tang to it.
Yeah, mine's just got the.
I like it's the lime factor. It's the lime and the pepper combo.
Yeah.
That's enjoyable.
But that just I'm cool with just straight up stone mustard.
Yeah.
But I do like if I'm going the mayo route with it and I want to whip it into a different kind of dip and I want to dip it and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm putting that ground mustard in with the white sauce and it's just going to loosen up. And
so what we're talking is about
you got to
charcuterie.
flambe the cheese on top of that pastrami.
Oh, right? So we're going wedding hors d'oeuvres over here.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't know what a flambe is.
Fire. You take the fire torch, like everything else is done. The pastrami's cooked, everything's good, and it's just the cheese that needs to melt. And instead of putting the whole thing into hot air again, you just take a flame torch and.
I think isn't that French for flame? Flambe.
Yeah, flambe. No, in French it's flambe.
Oh. Yeah.
What was the first song of the Prayers of a Reluctant Saint album that we actually had done? I'm just curious.
I know.
I don't.
Evolution of Hell.
Oh.
It was?
Mm-hmm. That was a very early Shiloh song that we we wrote and had. It just didn't make it. It wasn't a part of the first album, so it wasn't part of that novel.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because
we sat on that even, and that had come from a melody and a progression that I had before, but like your lyrics just, man.
Yes. Evolution of Hell.
I
remember getting we recorded a voice memo into the iPhone of you playing it with acoustic, and we did it in your office, and it was just like really rough. We did it with a click track, but the click track was sort of in the recording. So it was just like this voice memo with the acoustic. And then I took that back and sort of like built this concept around the acoustic and the vocal. And then, we sort of developed it from there. But yeah.
And you got poppy with it.
Yeah.
And it was probably only overnight or not even, maybe later on that night that you're sending, here you go, guys.
Well, it was
have a listen.
It was the chorus though. I remember you had the verses were just really sweet, and like the way you were playing the acoustic and how you were singing it, and then I think I like came up with the found a space, called it mine.
Yeah.
What is that song about, Bo? No, I was kidding.
Yeah, that one's tough to figure out.
The evolution.
That one's really hard. Yeah. We did just perform that at the concert we had, and I feel like it went over really well.
Yeah, we did it like a stripped down acoustic version of it with Ariana and Brooke singing along with it, and that was
visuals I thought the visuals were pretty cool. Like we were able to put this, sort of like an iPhone or smartphone on the screen, and there was like hearts and sort of a little on the nose, but I thought it was a good visual.
Yeah. It communicated clearly without getting too literal. Oh, maybe it was pretty literal.
I don't know. That song's very literal. I mean, like lyrically, it takes you right through the evolution of social media, but and I think a fun way, which like most of the lyrics in the song all have 3 meanings. Which was,
the old triple meaning.
Yeah, it was kind of fun to do. I mean, double meaning's fun, but if you can get a triple in there,
triple entendre.
That's like
triple entendre.
What are we doing here? That was kind of fun.
Clever.
Yeah,
the evolution.
It was fun to be able to hear it musically, because it was certainly fun to write, and think through each of the social media iterations.
Mm-hmm. What was your what was that inspiration? For you, just like, because you came with the full thought. First line, private thoughts in public places. Boom.
Hidden hurts and happy faces.
Think about that.
Compare, contrast, love to hate, consume, destroy, rant, and rate. It's like, yeah, we know where we're going.
Emptiness is all around.
Empty hearts are all we found.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've devolved into a social media spiral, perhaps.
Well, I think in writing that it was wanting to provide some commentary on this thing that in so many ways controls us and is shaping thought in some really and not that it's all bad. I mean, I was an early adopter to MySpace and
same
and finding ways to utilize that to do the things I wanted to do, and Facebook and Twitter, tried it with Instagram, but it just kept evolving to where there was no way to use it. And it was more and more obvious all the time that the evolution is that people are the product, and which is just super clear. And so as people are the product, if we're spending time on social media, what you find is you have few less contributors, percentage-wise.
Right.
More people, but a smaller percentage of people contributing, and which means the consumer issue is higher. So there's more people consuming, and what are they consuming? They're consuming other people. And that's super disturbing. I mean, that's like cannibalism of a certain sort. Cannibalism of the soul and of life. And it's like,
Right.
So it was like, oh, and the loneliness of that and how it tends, what we thought would help with the loneliness problem tends to exacerbate the loneliness problem. Yeah. And the comparing and everything else. So, and that's what hell is. Hell is separation from relationship. So
yeah. Do you remember having the anxiety over your top 8? Remember in MySpace, you had, at first they gave you an option to have like your top 8. You had to like really figure out who was going to be in your top 8. Like then they went to like top 16, I think, which I was like, shoo, because I had at least 10 people that needed to be in my top 8, and I couldn't fit them all.
Some of us, never had Tom out of our top 8 because we just didn't have that many MySpace friends. So
Tom had a nice blue
you were
t-shirt.
kind of a big deal on MySpace, I'm sure.
Yeah. One of the last known survivors.
Sorry, I thought everybody had that problem
MySpace
trying to figure out their top 8.
My MySpace is active.
It is.
So is mine.
Yeah, it is active.
Well, I get
I wonder if mine
purchased.
is. I haven't even. Oh my goodness, I haven't even thought to
I think
look.
Justin Timberlake bought it, and then it went bankrupt or something. He bought it for like $30 million. Tried to revive it. It was like a collaboration or something, but yeah, it's still around. New ownership. I think Tom is gone.
It's amazing how like Fasta, like a music platform, because it was shared. Really, bands were utilizing MySpace.
Yeah.
Moved into a hookup platform. It was like,
Well, isn't that every platform? No.
yeah, probably. But that was pretty wild, like to see that. And I was using it. We had started a church in a community, a new church, and so I spent 2 hours a day and had a whole plan on how to browse by like zip code and age and everything, and just introduce myself to people as a new pastor in town and start a new church. And is there anything I can pray about? And man, it was wild. Like I got some pretty saucy responses, which was cool. But then also like some really heartfelt, like, oh, no, I needed something. It's a prayer or something like that. But
it was definitely a music launch pad. I think that's primarily how I was using it at the time, connecting with other bands or promoters or whatever. Were you on MySpace?
Yeah. I actually think I can picture in my mind what my profile picture is. And I'm like, oh gosh.
It's still there. It's like still up.
I'm picturing longer hair.
I don't know.
I had the flat iron.
Zach's looking it up right now. You punk, I can tell.
That whole flat iron look over the eye.
Yeah.
That was way too much
Tonight
work.
will be the night that one. Sort of the grunge rock. Oh, you had the hair covering the bangs. I mean, the covering the eye, the bangs covering the eye.
over one. You have to get the. It was
like
Early
a lot of work.
2000s,
Pre-Bieber.
like author looking spiked out hair vibe.
Still am. That's fine. But I was just going to say that song, the Evolution of Hell, since we were kind of hitting on that. That's a good example of how like music can communicate something succinctly, and there's so much that can happen in that, and to capture a thought and an idea, and to share that, and better than, like I have no interest in writing a book on social media, or doing a talk on social media, but like to write a song about that, and it's like, oh yeah, chew on that, like,
Right.
if you're willing.
We did, and then we shared it on social media.
Like we do. I know, right?
Welcome.
We're trying.
Yeah.
And then I remember when that song was being written, it was actually before Twitter turned to X, right? And we came back, we're like, all right, let's revisit this. and Bo's like, wait a minute. Spins around in his chair. Paid the price, become the X.
Yeah, Out of the Blue and Cash the Check was already there.
It was there, yeah.
Because that was about paying for
the blue check,
for your blue check mark to be verified,
right?
When that was a thing. But then it was purchased, and so it was like, oh
yeah,
cash the check, become the X.
What was the original line?
I don't remember.
I know, I don't. I've been trying to think about it. Yeah, I don't remember.
Dare I look? I mean, we can move on with that, but like, I'm curious now if I have it.
Pre-purchase, paid the price, become the X.
Pretty sure paid the price was still there. I think all it changed was the last line.
Paid the price.
What I should do is search our text chain, our collaboration.
Yeah, we'll just pull that up on the screen.
Just pull it up.
Sure. I'll just make one up. Out of the blue, cash a check, paid the price, become obsessed. There.
I thought that's what it was.
It's not, but
It wasn't?
It wasn't, but you got there.
Become the next, become the X. No, that become the X is what it is.
remain in debt. I don't know.
Remain in debt.
That works. Hold it.
Hold up.
Self-obsessed, birds of prey, capture moments to display. Out of the blue, cash the check, pay the price to stack the deck.
Stack the deck. That's right.
Stack the deck.
Because it was about being verified.
Being verified,
Yeah.
stacking the deck in your favor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which still works, but
Yeah. Well,
become the X is
it's an evolution.
that's history.
Yeah. Well,
The song evolved before the song came out. Yeah.
couldn't have been a really long song if we just keep writing verses.
Yeah.
We could spend the next hour shredding social media.
No.
Okay.
Oh, I don't want to.
I don't want to. So the first song on the new album, Prayers of a Reluctant Saint, Kings Till They Die. Right. It's kind of exact. Yeah,
You have to.
You got to. What a wild, fantastical journey. Creating the sound palette for that song, and so, Bo, you wrote this just what I would consider to be deep and wide and deep, just contextually. Lyric, Kings Till They Die. Dan gets it. You go into this low hum, and just, you kind of scratch this out acoustic wise.
In
GarageBand. For some reason I was hearing, I don't know why, and this is not where it went, I guess, inevitably, but I just kept thinking of the phrase swashbuckling, and
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
yeah, it just like, I think I might have even made a comment like pirate ship. Not that it went there,
Yeah.
but it just felt like it was this, like you wanted to just move your arm like this while you were singing it, because it could be that dark vocal anthem.
Yeah. It's a chant. It's like
It's like a chant, yeah.
Yeah. I think just the phrase "Kings Till They Die," it just has like this march, and in one direction you're marching to your highest self, and but really you're just marching to your death, right? It just had this hun.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember scratching that out one night at home and feeling the difference between that and what we had been writing in some of the music around the first book. And so it was like, okay, I don't know what this is I don't know how this is going to come across, but I think that this is kind of cool. And with that chant also came this just drop D, like we need to go a little bit lower. You know what I mean? Let's just drop the D. I think of other artists that are just influential in.
So drop D would be like the tuning.
D. Yeah,
of the guitar,
drop D is drop D is the tuning, and really is I just tuned that first string, which is E down to D, and then
what does that give you? Like my darker.
It gives it a darker tone. Because you're playing those bigger strings, so it's just like jin 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 jin.
Gives you, yeah.
And it was like, okay, but I just it was cool to hear just some movement around that and just keeping it really beefy.
Yeah.
Like Fat Cats. I don't know.
Yeah. Fat cats with baseball bats. There's so many cool visuals
But
in that.
again, like the lyrics to me were just so compelling. Like when you're compelled by like good lyric to then write music with it. And it's not always that way, right? But like I do appreciate that approach to it as well.
Well, that is definitely our dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
The Shiloh Battles dynamic is we put music to lyric. Not all. I've been writing songs for many years, and I know you have too, and I know you have too, and it doesn't always go that way. Sometimes there's a musical riff, or there's a chord progression, or there's something that can spark lyric. But a lot of what we do starts with lyric. Starts with, Bo, you'll think, you'll do your thing, and then you'll present this thing, and it's usually a completed thought, and then we're going like we're like bloodhounds trying to figure out. Fat cats with baseball bats. What is that going to sound like? And it got dark.
But I couldn't wait to sing Fat Cats with Baseball Bats. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was just like, I want to sing this line. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but I can't wait to sing Fat Cats with Baseball Bats.
I find that does happen. Like as Bo, as you're writing lyrics, it's almost like you and I will gravitate towards particular lyrics, in different ways. Like that song, I was reading the lyric and just chewing and having no real idea where that needed to go. You were like, I got to sing Fat Cats with Baseball. So it's like certain, like Just a Dream on the new project. For me, when I got that, I was like, oh, I hear something. I want to sing this. I can hear a melody around this. So that's unique and cool.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting. Yeah, how that materializes. It's almost like the lyric. We get attracted to the lyric in a different way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Well, it's kind of fun for me because I'll write something. I'll be like, "There's no way they can put music to this." Like, and I never
keep doing that.
I don't say that to you guys, but I'm like this. But I'll send it anyway. I'll just to see. I mean, that way, and like something like this. Kings is a good example of that. Like, I'm like, I'll send it anyway. Like, this was really fun to write, and I'll send it. So they can say, "Oh no, we can't figure out a way to do this," or "This doesn't really work in the context of a song," or something like that. So you can tell me no. I mean, like, and then it's like, oh, all right.
Has that happened? Have we done that yet?
Figure that out. No. Well,
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Well, we have 50 plus songs we haven't written yet.
Well, yeah. So okay, that's
And
a
there's
possibility of a no.
And one of those 50, I think, has at least fallen into that place where it's like we're having to rework some lyrics and verses and things like that
we've done
more heavily
versions.
than anything, because usually what the pattern has been and the vibe has been is to get the lyrics and don't touch them, just write to it, just like sing it, write to it, vibe with it, you know what I mean? And when something clicks within all three of us musically with it,
That's when we go forward.
yeah, and when it clicks with you, you're like, okay, I won't, and there's a
But
quick
we've had
production that
iterations.
frames it. Yeah,
We've had iterations of songs. That has happened. So I don't know that we've ever been like, we don't know what to do with these lyrics. But there has been like, here's an idea for this song in this style and this feel, and then it's been like, let's explore, let's try a different thing.
Yeah.
So there has been some versions of songs.
and there are some examples. While this has been the pattern, there are some examples of where it's like, hey, I've got this on just musically, and you appreciating that as well. That's a different angle for you, right?
Yeah. New song is coming out. No Matter was that way. You were playing something on guitar and like, do you have you hear any lyrics for this? And I was like, I'm hearing something like this. And we sat in this room and here, try singing this, and so that's a good example of that. But in the iteration thing that you were saying, that there is like, sometimes we come into something we really enjoy musically, and so we adapt the lyrics to fit.
For sure.
And that's fun. I mean, that's very collaborative, and so I don't hold the lyrics. I mean, if I'm trying to say something, I would like the point to remain the same. But the number of syllables, the beats, how it fits in the music, like how to sing something.
Like
things we try to remove a lot of words, unnecessary words.
Yeah.
All that is it's so much fun, because then it feels like, for me, I'm like participating in the musical writing aspect, not just lyrically. And so, I can be like, wait, no, I know it works. Sing it this way, and I do my best, but and then you guys you
give us the cadence,
do it, yeah. I can get the cadence sometime, and so it's like,
do we need to cite that example?
There's a good one, a good example of that.
An example of cadence.
Well, we got
of Bo chanting a cadence, and it becoming.
Which one were you?
Which one was it?
Back Pocket Maracas.
Oh well, there's that.
Wow, that was more than a cadence. That was a vocal take.
That was a raise to listen.
No, that was his voice is on the song underneath mine.
I know,
in a low octave.
So that was right.
Yeah, that was fun.
What was the one?
I was thinking about Home and the dog.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I remember him going, trying to instruct on where the syllable was going to land for that. And I remember when you got it, he was like, yes. I was like, that's it. And it was like,
because you were with his dog.
Yeah, Lucas was trying to get rid of the dog. And no, the line, old fashioned beauty does her duty on the job.
I was just trying to get you worked up because I knew you wanted the dog.
Takes 3 men to do.
Hug the dog, what's there to lose?
Yeah. Hard times forgotten.
Truck stop, she got it. And hug the dog, what's there to lose?
Yeah, we were making sure we could squeeze that in, but it fit in the offbeat so well.
It didn't work in the first take, just in the cadence we had previously had. So I'm like, cut the dog out.
Yeah,
and Bo was, and I knew. And Bo was like, the whole song's about the dog.
Yeah,
we're not making the song if she doesn't hug the dog. Like,
there must be a dog that is embraced.
Listen, sometimes you gotta get the talent fired up. You know?
I know it works. I know it works. Please try it this way.
That's so good. Were you thinking of a different example?
No. I think I was just thinking of like, I mean, obviously, you know, we've said this before, but the most fun that we have collaboratively writing is not in 3 separate spaces. You know, we've obviously given examples of, you know, you get a song, you take it home, you know, you work on it. Or we come up with something and we present it, but you know, being in the same space, I mean, it would be like doing this conversation over Zoom. You know, there'd be some value to it.
Yeah.
It's a lot better to
well,
be
it's a
hanging
part of
out.
the practice of writing, but it's not. But you know, when we're together, that's all.
It's sort of like going home and doing your push-ups or heading to the gym together and like spotting each other. You know?
Yeah, we haven't done that.
We don't head to the gym together.
Well, push-ups. I may have done a few.
But yeah, so I mean, being together is better.
Bro.
Whatever.
Together they're better. So no, but being in the same space and, you know, you've got the laptop, you can, you know, you have a willingness to hear and to adapt lyric to melody. And you know what it is for me? It's how I've done music for so long in the most effective way is with others, or like getting that real-time feedback is like, that's life-giving. It's life-giving. You know, it really is, because it's like doing something and then waiting for a reaction or a response or waiting for notes or waiting. I mean, that's cool. But just seeing somebody's face go like, yes, like, okay, you know, that's.
Well, but I will say from our experience that the collaborative moments when we're in that are, I think, so fruitful because of the creative work done ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Say more about that.
Yeah, like we're coming in with lyrics and ideas and things that we've already been kicking back and forth. So when we get together, it's not like very rarely is it a blank slate. I mean, there's been some of that where
groundwork,
but we also spend a lot of time together. You know, outside of like, you know, directed writing sessions, you know,
right,
where we're going away for a few days to do that. So we're talking music, we're exploring ideas, we're trying things out. And then when we come together, it's like, I mean, sparks and fireworks and fun and so much energy. But there's been a lot of work that went in preparation of that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, Dan and I are singing together on a weekly basis. You know, and most times, you know, we're playing together, and you know, like you said, we're having conversations. You're sharing lyrics and things like that, and so what we're talking about is, we're doing pre-production, and
well, we're always making. So I like, you guys are doing music all the time. You're always playing and singing, working on things, and leading worship, and I'm always writing. So like, it's when somebody talks to me about writing, you know, like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, first of all, there's a discipline. So write every day,
right,
and that's where I lose most people. You know, like,
right.
People want the magic, but they don't understand the discipline of it.
Right. There's the daily writing. I mean, like,
they understand a moment of writing, or I'm going to sit down and write. But when you're in the practice of writing, you're a writer, right? There's golf players and there's golfers.
It's the work you're doing that nobody's seeing, and that's huge.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that you brought that up, and speak on that, because
no, I mean, that's really it. But I mean, like, to write every day, to make music every day, to be disciplined in that is what lays a foundation and groundwork for a lot more creativity and collaboration with other people. Which so
you're getting me fired up, because that is such a core value. I've had opportunity over my time making music in this world, you know, sort of mentoring some younger producers, and it was like, make a song idea every day. make one song idea every day. I mean, that's just like a core value. It's a muscle. And there were times, where I wasn't working on an album or I wasn't, collaborating with somebody on a song, and it was just like, okay, turn everything on, play something, start something and finish it, construct something. And I think that's the muscle. And so when that muscle is worked, whether it's the writing muscle or the playing muscle or the songwriting, when you get it, that's what prepares you for those spaces. It's like the two-a-days. You're doing football, you're practicing, and then you get on the field and you can perform and you can do what you need to do because you've been consistent in the discipline of it. I think a lot of people overlook that in general, but those who don't, I think you see the fruit of that.
Well, if you do it like that, everything doesn't have to be great.
Yeah,
because you don't even know what great is.
Right.
No, at that point you're just doing it. Yeah.
Write. From like a writing standpoint, I'll write a lyric, and I'm not have like a single lyric, like one line, with
like example.
Like I don't.
Slipped inside your mind for a lazy holiday.
Yeah, okay, which is where that song started.
Right.
It started with that lyric. So then I'll write, slipped inside your mind for a lazy holiday, and then just that'll sit there.
Think on it, yeah.
Yeah, that might be there for 3 weeks, a month, and it's like, oh, I really like this one lyric. What goes with it? And then there's been other thoughts.
Built a tower with your thoughts to topple while I play.
Apparently, that goes with it.
Good job. Yeah.
Well, there's I think there's a lot of I don't know. I mean, I think Bo, I've heard you say this, or at least it resonate with what my experience is. Maybe you resonate with this too, Dan. I don't know. I've not necessarily heard. We've not talked about it, but when something is incomplete for me, it's almost like it's like living, it's like occupying space, in my mind. So if there's a song that's being worked on, but it's not, it doesn't have the beginning and the ending, you know what I mean? It's sort of just kind of, I don't know if it's like a creative anxiety, but it just makes me feel like there's something not done that I need to finish, you know what I mean? And so I think that, sort of like gas in the tank for me, so when something's not completed, or it's, not everything's done, it's not about rushing, but it's about like sort of, being like a bloodhound. I got a scent and I want to complete that thought.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it takes, it doesn't happen overnight, but I can sit with an idea for a week or whatever, but probably not much longer than that. But.
Well, I mean, like, I'll give an example. Note to Self would be a song that lyrically, I had two separate sets of lyric starts. And when we were getting ready to go away, and I was putting together a lyric binder for us to pull from and look at, and I was putting together lyrics, I looked at those two starts, and I was like, oh, I'm going to combine them together. And I brought these two things that were written, 6 months apart, and put them together and put them in the binder. And then Dan's like, I want to mess around with this. I was like, oh, really? Like, I mean, I felt really insecure, like at first, like going, oh no, like I'm not sure these even go together. And then probably my favorite song on, the Prayers of a Reluctant Saint album is that one. But that's just different,
There was some, I guess, I don't know what other word to use, but there was definitely a little magic on that song. It's such a vulnerable, there's so much vulnerable lyrics there and just honest lyrics. And I just remember hearing you two were kind of just conversing, and then I just started playing this D chord. I guess we like D, but I just started playing this D chord and just in this cadence and just this feel, and then you just start singing behind me, shout about your own, and then I just start playing, and then all of a sudden it's just like materializing, and I'm like, oh, we're in it. Like, there's no plan here. We're just feeling this. It's like it was all feel, and before you know it, there's this, there's just this epic display of,
Yeah, that was magical. And I remember for me being really almost confused as to how it came together.
Right.
In that way, in that moment, without knowing what the song was about necessarily. It was just like, hey, let's just get started. You're boom, 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 and just rocking back and forth on this guitar thing. But like, and then singing it and having you just kind of realize without fully understanding what it was about. But, and then as we were laying it down a little bit, it was like, hey, does this sound to you, Bo, like what this is trying to say? And the look on your face was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, because I have no idea. I had, by the time I'm working through, it's like a little bits, but like I need to know more about what this song is about. And if I were to go into my iPad and look at those lyrics, or into the binder that you printed, and I look at the notes that I wrote around these lyrics on that page while he was talking, it was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And this is what it sounds like. And that to me was like, okay, that was like creativity having its way. And I'm not trying to get weird about it, but it was just like, I think it's what we call the magic, right?
It is, that's the moments that you.
How did this satisfy the author's lyrics and intent without, deep diving into what is this about? Okay, what do we do music? It was like, it wasn't that.
No.
It was just
feel.
like, go.
Because even after I remember I laid the piano down, you just picked up the acoustic and you were just like, sitting behind me on the couch, and you just started to just do this little strum. Mm-hmm. And I just remember going, do that. And then
the whole time, yeah.
And I grabbed the headphones. I just literally picked up a microphone that I had on a stand, and I just held the microphone in front of your guitar for like 4 bars, and you just picked it and then, put this delay on it to create this almost like this churning. And then just kind of put it throughout the whole, first part of the song. And so it was just like, that's the kind of stuff that you want. But you cannot purchase it, and you cannot fabricate it. It has to just kind of happen,
Yeah. So. And then, I mean, and we can get into what the song is saying, and
we might save that for another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode, but that's
a cave.
Yeah, more of that one.
More of that.
More of that.